Sai Ram, sisters, brothers. It's indeed a great honor to be not only in the midst, at the feet of Sai, but in the midst of his chosen devotees. And every time I pause before I speak about him, the pause is not what to speak, but how. How does one express in a language confined to 26 alphabets the experiences that were so deep, so transformative, so powerful, so spiritual, that defined logic, understanding, that defined any form of expression. But nevertheless, we have to make an attempt. And therefore, I will make yet another attempt to share my path, my journey, the lessons I learned with Swami. I wouldn't intend to preach, and if I do sound at some time, just ignore that part of it. In my heart, I want to share. It is in sharing that we grow. And I think one of Swami's very fond songs that he introduced towards the end of the 80s, he said, Kalasi Melasi Perugutam. Together, you'll joyfully celebrate your companionship, joyfully grow together, joyfully learn together. And that stayed with us as students. We sang that and brought that into songs and so on. But there's a powerful lesson there. It's not just about the I, but it's about a collectiveness. As Brother Mark mentioned earlier in the morning, I hope that this is a transformative experience, not only for you, but for me as well. My fear is, as I watched religions come and go by, we become event managers. With Swami's teachings, we have events. We plan events. We are worried about what food. There's a big committee for the menus. There's a big committee for the organization and the logistics. And all of that is good. It's absolutely important. You can't do without that. But to limit a learning time, a time in learning, a moment, I call it the MOT, the moment of transformation, to an event. And when the event becomes so big and large, at the end of the event, you're like, oh, not again till one more year, thank God. Then we miss the learning part of it. And therefore, I want us all of us, me included, of course, to view these as moments of transformation. I hope this is going to be a transformative journey. It already is. We all wore our hats and we surrendered those hats. I was just beginning to get attached to it, and then Shruti came and said, you have to offer it. I said, oh no. So I tuck it under Swami's chair because I wanted him to sit on it. The journey of our life, as I learned from Swami, is from the little I to the we. For the longest time, I thought that was it. I to we, right? And then, towards the end of my stay, Swami made me write a play. The name of the play was Unity, which he came up with at the end of after I wrote it, and we kind of went through all the scenes together because it was a Shanti Vedika in 1990. It was a Shanti Vedika, and it was Swami's 65th birthday. And that was the new place. And Kulvanthal came later and others, right? So Shanti Vedika was a huge stage. And Swami said, such a big stage. 3-4 boys acting won't look good. I want 100 boys on the stage. And I scratched my head. 100 boys in a play? How do you get 100 people So we created a village scene and we got 100 people and all of that. And Swami was very thrilled with the play, of course. And there are so many, the fun lessons in that, the beautiful moments in that, and I hope the context prevails for me to share those. Because I'm going to try and reduce 15 years of learnings in 3 or 4 sessions. But he titled that play, Unity, Purity, Divinity. There was a powerful learning for me because I actually sat with him and because he wanted me to write this play from scratch, which I did. And then I would discuss that scene with him and Swami would literally go through word by word and correct it. And he would ask, who's the boy who's going to act? No, he's too tall, he's too short, this, that, hand-picking every single person in that play. But more than those, I saw the fervor with which he was focusing on the theme of the play. I realized how valuable it was, this concept of unity for Swami, how dear it was to him, and how he taught us in that play that you grow from this little unity to purity, and purity comes when you mingle with and you share what you learned with everybody, and together there is divinity, you experience divinity. It's never the I away from everyone else, it's the I with everyone else. And over the years that have passed since then, I've learned to incorporate that teaching in my own life. At a personal level, I try to bring the unity of thought, word, and deed. The journey of the I, the discovery of the I, and like Swami said just a few moments ago, thank you, Swami, for giving us that little edge into this. Who am I? The journey begins from there. And then it goes into the we, and then into the he. From the unity to the purity to the divinity. When Swami first said the journey of life is from I to we and to he, I never understood what that he meant. I thought I to we was good enough, right? Struggling with we already. And so let us explore this in the 2.5 days that we have. Let us explore this journey together. I'll share the lessons I learned. I'll share my perspectives. Like I said, I don't need to preach, but it's merely sharing of a perspective for you to ponder over these thoughts and take home what makes sense to you and however it makes sense to you. You don't have to buy everything I say, because this is one blind man giving his version of the elephant. You know the stories of the 6 blind men who saw the elephant? Each one felt one part. Somebody said the elephant is like a pillar, somebody said the elephant is like a trunk. They were all right, but they were not complete in that. And therefore, this is one blind man, lucky enough to be near the elephant, sharing the lessons he learned. So take it with a pinch of salt. And so it is with all our journeys. I think we are not here for entertainment. We are here to learn. We are here to grow. We are here to, because we have come ready to expand our understanding of what is this spirituality all about? What is Sai Baba all about? Why are you taking your precious time off from what you could have done on a long weekend, and you're here? And therefore, that readiness is what makes us open to more learning and sharing. So today I want to focus on the I part, tomorrow on the we part, and the little bit the lesser we talk about the he, the more we open to experience. So we'll keep that for the last day. The I. There was this young boy, many years ago, born in a village which was not even on the map of India. A village dreadful in its name. The next time you want to start a business and name your shop or your store or your company or your website or your WhatsApp group, think about a name. We're so worried about names, right? Naming your children, naming a book. But But look at every single thing that you and I think is important or logical is broken by the divine. Because the I in us, to break that conditioned idea of who the I is. Let's learn from that. So a young boy is born, just like many other young boys were born in that village. The name of the village was Puttaparthi, the home of the snakes, or ant hills, where the snakes reside. It perhaps looked at one point like the planet Mars, because it was known for drought conditions, famine-like conditions. It was not even on the map of India. A boy is born there. A child is born there. And when he was 13 years old, he has a dream. He has a vision. He discovers his destiny, his purpose. He comes home and says, I'm no longer your Sathya. I am Sai. When Swami asks us in this discourse, like he said, it is not sufficient for you to know who are you, where did you come from, what's your name, oh, that's a nice jacket you're wearing, or that's a nice sari you're wearing, and we are so caught up in what everybody else is doing, we seldom find time to ask, who am I? What is my purpose in life? What are my sense of values? Now, I wasn't there, of course, when Swami declared himself. That was way, way, way before I was born. In 1940, when he called out his mission, lighting a small little lamp when the world was just ready to jump into the darkness of the Second World War. He came there to mitigate the negativity. I have no doubt about it now. But the lesson is so powerful. We are born in this world and we are given a name, we adopt a name, and we think that is me. I was named Meenakshi Sundaram. At one point when I was a teenager, I didn't like this name. What is this Meenakshi Sundaram? But now I'm proud of it because Swami called me Sundaram many times. We are given a name, we adopt the name, we identify ourselves as something that was given to us. We are born in a family with certain set beliefs and some religion, and we adopt that. We assume that, like Swami would say, a banyan is put, then a shirt is put, and a coat is put. And then as we grow, we are taught when to laugh, when to cry, how to sit, how to stand, right? We learn that. Everybody laughs at a joke. We're like, oh, okay, I should laugh too. Yeah, that's funny. So I convince myself that these are funny things. These are sad things. This is beauty. This is ugliness. All of that. Ask yourself, everything that we are taught is some form of an inception at some point. When have we ever given ourselves a chance to ask, who am I really? Why was I born? What is my destiny? What is my purpose? What's my calling? And I say this to youngsters especially, and to all of us, is because we seem to be caught up as a group. We want to identify and fit into a group, so we want to do what everybody else does. Everybody goes to school, I need to go to school. Everybody gets good marks, I need to get good grades. Everybody passes out and gets a job, I need to get a job. Oh my gosh, he's got a job, he's got married, I need to get married too. And after married, guess what? The whole family is like, what about kids? What about kids? What about kids? Oh, I need to have kids. Okay, let me have kids. And we are doing everything what everybody else does, thinking we are going somewhere, but everybody is running around in a circle. Nobody knows where they're going. We have ambitions, we have desires, we chase all these dreams, we are told what is luxury and what is good and all of this. And then we seem to be caught up in some kind of a bubble, an illusion, if you will. And then comes a master who breaks those paradigms systematically, one by one. Put yourself in his shoes just for a bit. Ask yourself, if I was born in a remote village and raised as somebody who would take the sheep out in the morning and come back in the evening as a shepherd or as a cowherd, with friends just who spoke my language, and it was a little world, would I have ever dreamt of doing what Swami did? Did the other villagers dream like that? No. But the Master comes to prove a point. You know, when I was young, I was raised in a Catholic school, St. Xavier's High School in Bombay. And when I went to the school, I heard these beautiful stories of Jesus Christ, powerful stories. And that still stays with me because it's one of the greatest stories and the most beautiful stories ever told. But I find it hard to believe. Why? Because I was told he was born in a manger. He was a son of a carpenter. His birth was not even recorded. It was the middle of the night and they whisked him away lest the Romans would hurt the child. And I scratched my head growing up. How does one become a leader? Don't you need good friends and good family and support and all of that? To me, that was a fantasy, a story I couldn't grasp. It didn't seem real. I come home and I'm told the story of Krishna, the great emperor, the mighty emperor. Wow! Where was he born? In a dungeon. Wait a minute, what? Wait, what? Where? Dungeon. And his uncle was killing his sisters and brothers. Wow. Talk of violence in the family growing up. So this child is born in a dungeon, separated from family at birth, and taken away again to be raised incognito as a cowherd in a village so that nobody will know he is there. And that cowherd becomes the emperor of Dwaraka. Again, I scratched my head. This is not possible. These are fantasies, stories. And as I grew into my teenage, I began to openly disbelieve these. Because they didn't seem true. They didn't seem practical. I would go to a theater and watch Roti, Kapda or Makan. You know, that was a movie. I don't know, some of you can relate to that. It's all about food and clothing and the poor people struggling. I said, yeah, that's reality. How can that person be this? Unless they go become a gambler or something, and all kinds of crazy stories were fed into me that time. Luckily, I had grown enough to analyze that part. I wasn't a 5-year-old watching that. But nevertheless, that seemed to make more sense than these stories. And then life took me around and brought me to Swami. And there I found this story being told in real time. I was in a village where he actually grew. In the late 70s and well into the 80s, there were people who were still his friends who lived there. When we spoke to them, I still remember one of them saying, he became rich. It's like that friend being jealous of the other. Yeah, we were all friends. Somehow we became rich. But they were there to tell you that he played with us. We grew together. I don't know how he did what he did. And then it began to dawn on me that perhaps the stories 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, were true after all. Because every time a master comes, he walks the earth, he says, you think these are important, these are not important. What is more important, and we'll come to that. What is most important is perhaps not even on our radar. Because we think as we grow up, we need money to survive. That makes very practical sense to all of us. Let's be practical. Where's the funding? Who's going to fund this? Right, Brother Vijay? He's a chartered accountant, I know that by now. So we convince ourselves that that's important. And we put that as a limitation. I could have done this, but you know what? I don't have the necessary funds. So guess what the master does? He's born in a place with zero funds available. And then he knew we might come into a generation where networking becomes very important. We say, yeah, I have all the funds, but I have no friends, I have no networking, I have no social skills. So I could have done all of this, but I can't achieve what I need to. I don't have these skills. What kind of networking did Baba have? Cowherds, fellow villagers who will play marbles with him. Was his father an influential person who could recommend him to good schools or colleges, or who could bribe somebody and say, hey, get my son in there. He has great potential. His name is Satya Narayana. Nothing. Everything that you and I think that we need to succeed, Swami did not have that. That young boy was not exposed to that. It's a $1 million question as to how he found his purpose. That's a mystery. That's a mystery of a teacher. But then Swami encourages us with this very question. When have you asked, who am I? Because that I is what Swami discovered, and that I is what he stuck to. I have this desire to do this. I have a purpose in life, and that purpose didn't meet the standards of the people around him. Do you think when Swami announced his mission, his parents said, we are so proud of your son. Chala baga chesao. Oh, ara bangaru. And they hugged him? No, they thought he was possessed. They literally thought, it's like a fairy tale, but it's true. It's happened in our times. It's very true. They thought he was possessed because nobody talks like that. You're supposed to go and just be a regular guy. You don't stand up suddenly. It's like the seagull, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I don't know if you read that book. It's a short read. It's a beautiful. You're supposed to earn your bread. You're not supposed to suddenly enjoy flying. What, are you crazy? So they thought he was possessed. They took him to exorcists and who physically abused Swami. Swami didn't have a 911 number to call. I don't know, what number do you call here for emergency? 01? 111, okay. Swami didn't have an emergency number to call, but he was physically abused, physically cut open and blood pouring, and to the extent that he had a hearing, one of his hearing side was impaired for the rest of his life. Did that discourage this young boy? How many of us sit back and say, I wish my parents had encouraged me more? Or I wish my country had encouraged me more. I wish the organization did something more for us. We are quick to point fingers at organizations, governments, leaders, parents, culture, community, and all of that to justify why I am not doing it. Because that's easy. And with all the forces against him, it did not deter this young boy to do what he set out to do. And little by little, day after day, one step at a time, he started spreading out his mission. He sang a small little bhajan sitting on that stone. It's fascinating for me because he didn't wave his hand and suddenly create an empire. But then you and I would have worshipped him, but we would have found a complete disconnect with us and him. Swami said, I come with 2 hands and 2 feet. I come and live like you, breathe like you, eat like you, walk and talk like you, so they can relate to me. If I come with Shankar and Chakra, you'll put me in a museum and charge a ticket for my darshan. We were with Swami once, sitting at his feet. And I mentioned many of these stories many times, so bear with me if it's a repetition, but I don't get tired of them. And I hope you don't too, because every time I visit these stories, I have something to learn. One of the boys, as we were pressing Swami feet, he and I, so this boy coughed. He did like this and he did. So when you're with Swami, you have to be so mindful. So in the moments, every single movement in your body, or you look here and there, Swami will say, what is there? Why are you looking there? Because Swami he's so in that moment when he's with you. If you don't reciprocate, it's like there's a storm for Swami. It's like something, he expects that. And so this boy coughed, he immediately looked, what happened? You're not well? No, Swami, nothing, it's okay. No, tell it to go away, it will go away. Colder, tell it to go away. And I'm paraphrasing it in English, of course, he's speaking to us in Telugu. Tell it to go away, it will go away. And of course, both of us smiled. Yeah, right, I'm not minding going. Swami said, no, really. See, if some blood comes in my hand, I'll say, hey, go inside, it will go inside. Again we smiled. Because we said, in our mind, we said, of course you can do whatever you want, but not us, right? And this boy said, but Swami, like this, it's you. So Swami said, why? Just because it's Swami, I can do, you cannot do? Again, we smiled. Because by then we had learned, don't talk, just smile, look at Swami. Because you open your mouth, you make a fool of yourself. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. But in this case, Swami was not expecting any answer. He was just having a good time. Then he said, what is the difference between you and me? Where is the difference between you and me? You have 2 eyes, I have 2 eyes. Avuna kada? Yes or no? Yes, Swami. You have 2 hands, I have 2 hands. You have 2 feet. And then Swami goes, walking, talking, reading, writing. Meeru kuda chestinaru, nenu chestinaru. You also do, I also do. Walking, talking, reading, writing, eating. Where is the difference? Chappandi. He leaned forward. We are sitting at his feet. We are looking into his eyes. Chappandi. Where is the difference? For a moment, because the mind is blank, for a moment I thought, maybe there is no difference. But before that sentence ended, he said, Kani undi. Wait. But there is. There is. He corrected me there. He said, there is. And very beautifully he said, where is the difference? The difference is here. He pointed to his eyes. Ikkada undi difference. And in Telugu, you use the word chupulu. Chupulu means perception, perspective. The difference is in the way you see things, is in the way you perceive. And then he gave this analogy, so beautiful. He said, you think you are a small atom in this vast universe. And then Swami dramatized this. Oh, big universe, so many galaxies, stars. Who am I? I'm a small little anu laga unnan nenu, like a small atom. Avuna kada? We nodded for that, yes, for sure. That's our comfort zone, right? We play the humility card at a drop of a hat. Who am I? You're not strong. Please, please. I'll pause for this story and come to this because there's another story. I'll weave that back. Not like somebody else who weaves stories, but I meant Trump. I won't get into that kind of weaving. Well, this just reminded me when I said Swami, because I had finished a talk, and Swami was very happy with my talk, and he said, follow me. And from the Purnachandra auditorium, I followed him. Very happy that Swami liked my talk. Otherwise, he'll just ignore and walk away. So he said, oh, good, come with me. So I walked with him back into the mandir. And Swami sat, and Swami had also given a very beautiful discourse that evening. So he had called a couple of VIPs, and he was, the high comes down gently. So Swami was asking people, how was the program? And these 2 VIPs were. And then Swami looked at them and said, how did this boy speak? So I was standing next to Swami, and they looked at me and they said, you spoke very well. Swami, he spoke very well. And they said, it was Mr. Narasimhan. So he looked at me and said, you spoke very well. And I did, Swami. And immediately Swami said, what is this? In Telugu, of course, he immediately chided me, because what was my intention? My intention is, Swami is sitting here, you're praising me? I mean, who am I, We have this crazy idea of self-worth. We feel we don't deserve this, right? So we're like, not me, don't praise me in front of Swami, please. It's all Swami. We have this, it's fashionable for us to say that, I guess. And therefore I did that, and Swami immediately said, hey, yentidi chestunnavu? Thank you, Cheppu. Say thank you. I was stunned. I said, okay, thank you, Swami. Then I looked at Swami. I said, Swami, but you are everything. That is between you and me. You don't have to showcase that to everybody. See, that's where he draws the line. You don't have to tell everybody else, oh, Swami is the doer, Swami is the doer. I don't compose any bhajans and I copyright it secretly. That's different. So we have, that's where he draws the line. That it's that, the energy there is so profound. I forgot the story I was telling earlier, but it'll come. And so it is this where Swami declares himself and comes into that. He teaches us how to find ourselves into that into that being, coming back to who I am, where I am, how am I, what am I doing, what is my purpose in life. That is where we want to be. That is where we want to draw ourselves. And that is where Swami brings us back into that learning. And so Swami was sitting and asked us, you think you are an atom in this universe? And we immediately nodded. That is the difference. Why? You think you are an atom in this universe. For me, the universe is an atom in me. The universe is an atom in me. Are they different? Change your perception, then there will be no difference. Change your perception. So is spiritual growth, is enlightenment merely a matter of perceptions? Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is a matter of perception, the way we perceive things. Your brand new car is parked in the driveway and somebody comes and hits it and you freak out. But then if you have $100 million in the bank, you will come out and say, hey mate, it's okay. I use the word mate because I hear it so much now, so pardon me. I'm trying to be a new Silander. And I'm doing a very bad job, but I know that. But anyway, so if you have $100 million in the bank and that's one of your many cars, what would be your reaction? It's okay. That's all right, don't worry. You're ready to forgive him and take it in your stride. But if that's your only car and you have taken a big loan to get that car, and then that little scratch comes, you're like, oh my God, Swami. You lose your cool. Why? Because we don't have something to fall back upon. Our perception changes from where we are. And that's why Swami says, ask who am I? Know that within you lies this infinite potential. Know that within you lies this infinite potential. If you truly know, if you do really find a diamond in your attic, when the next time you put away Christmas decorations, you go up there and you're grumbling that you got so much work to do, but you open a box and you're like, wow, a big diamond there. Just knowing that there's a diamond in your attic will change your perception. You haven't invested that diamond, you haven't sold it, you haven't gone to even get somebody to value what it is, but knowing that the diamond is there in your attic, you come back, you perhaps lose a job, you'll say, it's okay, it's all Swami's grace, whatever happens, right? You're ready to take everything on your stride, bear any loss, because you know there's a diamond in the attic. You can always, I know that's there. Have we found our diamond in our attic? That's what Swami wants us to remove the shirt and look into your chest. Have you found who you are? Because without that, we build Santa Clauses out there. We build a Swami who's out there. We build a God who's out there. And we say Swami and we look up. That's a fundamental flaw. And we create the drama of the distance. We create the drama of yearning. He says, why? I'm with you, I'm in you, I'm above you, I'm below you, I'm around you. I'm the pure consciousness that you are part of. Just discover that. Discover you're the wave in this ocean that I am. And you're never separate from me. Have we got a taste of that? Because if we do, then life will never be the same again. It will never be the same again. Will the paths become very rosy? Perhaps not. But you will have the perfect sandals to walk on the thorns. They won't hurt you anymore. The lessons that we learned with Swami every day, in and out, were very, very, very powerful. Right from the very first lesson that I learned from him. I was sitting in a crowd waiting for my admission. I had not got the required grades to get into Swami's college. This was the first batch of students, right? And there weren't entrance exams like you have now. There was no formal ways of processing an application. The best thing you had to is fill a form and go to the principal and tell him, hey, I want admission in science. He will look at it and says, okay, yes or no. It was a very subjective, based on guidelines Swami had given him. So when I went with my 12th grade marks, and because my father got transferred from Bombay, there was no college to live, so they pushed me in search of a college, and I found a free college, and I told them about free education Sai Baba is giving. They said, okay, go try it. Otherwise, Sai Baba was not their interest at all, because they had Murugan and Shiva and all of those gods, and they didn't even know who Swami was. Another thing about Swami is uniqueness. He's so unique. There is no spiritual person like this who has this afro hairstyle and a beautiful silk robe. Because everybody tries to fit into what spiritual person should look like. Beard, turbans, I guess. I don't know, whatever it is, the fashion. But he is not to defy anything. But he celebrated who he was. This is me. I get curly hairs, and therefore why should I change who I am to be spiritual or to be a god or to be an avatar? This is who I am. He celebrated his uniqueness, his identity. He celebrated coming from the village. He said, I'll make this village a center, not go somewhere else. I'm not ashamed of the village I come from. I'm not ashamed of my culture I come from, however backward it may be. And today, look at that. It's a spiritual capital of the world. Everybody plans a trip to India. And among all the pilgrimages they plan, Puttaparthi is one of them, if not for us, the main around which everything else revolves. That is the energy that Swami brought in. So when I went to Swami, it wasn't a devotee. I wasn't a devotee. I didn't know who he was. I went there because it was free education. My parents said, go then get yourself into that college. My father had already decided my career. I've done commerce. I'm an accountant in the firm. You go get your BCom done. Graduate BCom was bachelor's in commerce, right? So get your BCom done and come and take my job. So in my generation, parents decided everything. Everything, literally. I'm looking at the youngsters. Everything. And that never stopped. Even if you're 45, 50, they kept deciding. So when I went to Swami's college, not only did I have to get admission, I had to get admission in bachelor's in commerce, because that's what my father had said. And my grades were not great. I don't want to say what they are, because I don't want the kids to say, even Uncle Sunder didn't get good grades. So I had to be conscious. So I went to the principal, I showed him, I said, I need a seat in commerce. He looked at the grades, he said, I'm sorry, my son, you're welcome to join. You can take the bachelor's in arts, if you will, but you cannot get commerce because Swami has said you need A grade and above, and so on. And I put vibhuti, to impress him. I kept going to him again and again. I told him, Sai Ram, the sweetest way possible. I tried to sit next to him in bhajans and close my eyes. And I did everything that I could to impress upon him, because I knew he was a decision maker. He said, I know you're trying your best, but I cannot do anything. He said, I cannot. The college had already started. It was 3 days. And my father, knowing this plight, had sent me a return ticket to come back home. And he had already, in that letter that he said, I told you to study hard. I say this because I could feel that tone, and it was underlined twice. I knew if I go back, I'll be like the reject from, because the whole family was wondering where do we place him, because he got transferred to a village up in the north in Haryana. There were no colleges and so on. Anyway, long story short, so I'm sitting here. I don't know who Sai Baba is. I spent that 2 or 3 weeks there, before that a month in the summer course and so on. I had heard a lot of stories about Sai Baba, but then I realized I'm not getting admission into his college. I wanted it because I loved that village, and the village atmosphere was nice. It reminded me of a movie, Sholay, and everything was fine. And so I had to go back. So I wrote a letter to Swami and kept it with me. Those days we could go sit right in the front in the darshan line. There weren't any tokens that you have. I don't know if it's there today, but it later on became norm to have tokens. But in those days, you just, if Swami is going to come out at 3:34, 2 o'clock you can go and sit if you want. Nobody's going to say no. And so I made sure I sat right in the front and give this letter to Swami before I go back. And my letter was an angry one. I wrote saying, people think you're God and this and that. I don't think you're anything. Because I came here looking for a future, and it looks like you're not able to listen to what I have. And whatever the teenagers write in anger, I don't know, I just wrote. Because we quick to blame somebody else, right? I just wanted to blame Swami for my not getting good grades. So I said, with this, you take my letter, and whatever this relation with God, everything I wanted cut. I'm not interested in anymore. And so I had that letter in my pocket, and Swami came for darshan, and he's walking past, and I had the letter between my folded palms. I had kept it sitting right in the front. And my expectation was he's going to take the letter and go, and that's it. I have to go back and face my dad. I'm more concerned about what kind of stories I have to spin to my dad, or how do I deal with that situation. So I'm just looking at him I did not expect him to say something. So he paused. He put his fingers like this, like a scissor, because I said, I'm going to cut relation, right? So he said, okay, should I cut or not? Let's see. So many times he picks letters like this as well, if you have noticed in some of the videos. So he puts his hand on the letter, and then surprisingly looks at me and he says, Kya hai? What is it? That was the first words he ever spoke to me. Kya hai? In Hindi. And I said, oh my gosh, he's talking. So I knelt and I said, Swami, admission, 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 Swami. And I heard my father's voice from inside, right? Say, be calm, be calm. Because admission is, I'm going to get the admission, but it has to be in commerce. B.Com is bachelor's in commerce. So I need, and I said, Swami, admission, admission, be calm, be calm. Swami said, be calm? Be calm. A very beautiful moment. And then he paused, looked at the principal sitting across, and he did something like this. I have vague remembrance. He did something like this and walked past me. The letter was not taken, it was still in my hand. I didn't care. I folded the letter, put it in. And after the darshan was over, I rushed to the principal. I said, did you see Swami spoke to me? He said, yes. He said, I know. Please, I need BCom. He said, yeah, whatever you want. You can come tomorrow. And that's how Swami, it was entirely his grace. I didn't deserve it, but he opened that door and he allowed me to walk in. The beauty in Swami's mission, as I see it, and for all of us, is there weren't any qualifications to deserve his grace. Many times we think we need to qualify to earn his grace, or we need to be good devotees to earn his grace. We don't have to be anything. We don't have to judge ourselves as good or bad. I think both become obstacles. We just have to be who we are, just yearn. And that yearning for my admission and getting into that was my first answer, if you will, to a prayer. I didn't know I was praying. I didn't really pray, but it was a true yearning. It wasn't even directed towards him. I didn't pray to him as such, because that took a while for me to get. How do you pray to a human being? But how do you know what I'm praying? Writing a letter, yes, I can understand. But how do you pray to somebody? It took me a while to understand that it's actually possible. But that yearning is enough. So somebody looking for a freebie, a free education like I was allowed. He welcomed me in to his fold. And that's the beauty of the divine, of an avatar, if you will, of divinity, if you will. There are no set qualifications that you require to please him. Many years later, when we did our first, 2 years later, in 1980, when we did our first program in front of Swami as young boys, we were about 30, 40, 50 boys, and the dorm is open. Swami inaugurated the dorm, which was 1 kilometer away. Until then, for the first 1.5 years, we stayed in the mandir. Looking back, I enjoyed those moments. We would grab our bed sheets and pillows and rush in the night where Swami would walk for darshan. We would all go and sleep all over the place. Sometimes just below Swami's bedroom window, hoping he'll come out and peep and things like that. It was such a unique experience. And then the dorm came, and so Swami drove us out of the mandir and sent us to the dorm, which was about 1 kilometer away. And the story I'm coming to it in connection with what I'm saying is, as a young boys, we wanted to invite Swami to the dorm. And we wanted him to inaugurate it for us. So what do? We didn't have too many Veda chanting boys. That was very new at that point. But what we did as a group, we said, what can we do to entertain Swami? Somebody said, how about Bhangra dance? Bhangra dance, you probably know, right? Some of you may be new to the Indian culture. It's the most boisterous, notorious dance, if you will. It's got the heavy beat and talk of stillness and movement. That's like the epitome of movement. You're constantly shaking every single part of your body. Everything against what you would call spiritual. At that point, we didn't think beyond, we didn't analyze all of this. We said, hey, can we all do Bhangra dance? Oh my God, that'd be awesome. Because our thing was, has Baba seen Bhangra dance? He has not seen Bhangra dance. Why don't we do something which he has not seen? And so when the ashram elders heard it for the first time, it was blasphemy. What? Bhangra dance? No, this is ashram. You cannot do all that. No, but we were doing it in the hostel. That's 1 kilometer away. Who do you think Swami is? How dare you? And so we had to plead to one of our senior lecturers, please tell Swami to come and see it in some small room. Let Swami say no, then we will cancel it. Please let us do this. And so they placed it to Swami, and Swami said, of course I'll come and see it. And so he came and saw the rehearsal, and we were doing exactly what we did. And we thought the more boisterous we are, the more impressive it will be, because you have to do a good dance, right? And a good Bhangra dance is full of acrobatics, and you jump on, that guy takes this thing, one guy is hanging on the other guy's hip, and they go around, and all kinds of stuff. So we did everything, and Swami laughed and laughed, and he had such a good time. And he said, like kotis, like monkeys, they are jumping all around. He said, Paravale, do it. Just wear a pant under your lungis. I don't want any accidents. What is the lesson there? The lesson is, it is not the act, it is the intention behind the act. It is not an act that becomes spiritual or not spiritual. I say this because in one of the retreats I went, an elderly devotee came up to me and said, you should tell these youngsters not to play sexual instruments for bhajans. I was like, wait, what? I said, can you explain further? He said, no, they use these drums that are used in all Bollywood films. I said, the drum is not a problem. So I told him, you should stop watching Bollywood movies. I think you're getting wrong ideas. The drum is not the problem. You're associating the drum with some film music you saw, so you stop watching. He didn't like it though. My point is we are quick to decide what is spiritual, what is not spiritual. But with Swami, it was not like that. We did gymnastics, we played basketball. It wasn't like we thought, let's make this as an offering to Swami, nothing. We just said, boys, hey, let's play. Let's put up a nice basketball match. And Swami will be watching the basketball, because it's a fast game. Oh my gosh, he would love it so much. And then boys taking pictures with him. He was delighted that it was a healthy way of harnessing our energies and so on. So he was the first one to encourage all of that. Those are the things that opened up, that Swami accepted anything. And many years later, a few of us did, as part of a gymnastics team, we wanted to introduce ourselves as the team. So 20 of us did a small dance beat. And that was to Michael Jackson's Beat It music. Swami enjoyed it. There wasn't lyrics, of course, there was just the instrumental. We didn't analyze too much. Hey, this is a nice beat. Maybe we could do something and show Swami. And that's it. That was as simple as that. Fortunately, not too many elders knew Michael Jackson in Puttaparthi, so I think we kind of walked away with that. My point here is that with Swami, it was amazing. There was no qualification. There was no judgment from his side. This is spiritual, that's spiritual. All he wanted is purity. Be pure in what you're doing. Be straightforward, be genuine. And that's what I think when he ends the word with character, is find your character. In other words, who are you? Find your uniqueness. Believe in who you are, what you want to do. You don't have to compromise who you are to become somebody else. oftentimes he'll say, you want to do something, you do, I am there, do it. He would tell me later on as years went and we wanted to do more sports meet and more things. Because Swami on the one side would say, what are you doing new this time? Not dangerous, but something new. Something exciting, but not dangerous. So every time he would ask us to explore, be more creative. And then we would come up with something or the other, I still remember when I wanted to jump over a car, which I did, come running and a car comes this way and you jump over it. So we thought, wow, that'll be unique for Swami. And so Swami listened to it. I said, Swami, you would love it. So 3 of us practiced over something that looked like we kind of said this should be the height of the car. And so let's first practice this. Even before we tell Swami we want to do this, because we want to get it cleared from Swami. Because every day Swami would call, what are you practicing? He is very eager to come and watch the practice. And so there were no surprise elements there. But who will bell the cat? Like, how do we tell Swami this without scaring Swami? Because he is so particular about safety. I still remember this very nice, beautiful conversation with Swami. So I gingerly said, Swami, there is one very beautiful, very nice looking feat that we want to do. Swami said, what is that? Dance? I said, no dance, Swami. It is jumping. Jumping you can do. No, Swami, it's actually jumping over something. Oh, now what is that? Swami, over a car. Oh, car, huh? Swami, moving car. Moving car. Yes, Swami, but it's very safe, Swami. The car will move very slowly. Swami said, okay, where is the car for you to practice? And then I said, Swami, you have so many cars. I don't know why, because we didn't have access to cars. I let Swami, me dagara undi, dunno pota, he said. That is not my car, there's devotee's car. But he kind of wanted to encourage. So he asked one of our lecturers who had a white Fiat, he said, give it for practice. And so we practiced and we actually did that feat in front of Swami. This was the beauty with God, and that's why I'm very down to earth in spirituality. For me, exercise is as much a sadhana as singing bhajans or doing abhishekam to a lingam. Doing intense rituals is as spiritual as lifting weights for me, because we did that for Swami. The very first gymnasium in Puttaparthi, Swami gave me the first check to go and buy equipment. What are you going to buy? Which parts of the body? What kind of equipment you will buy? And I went and bought, and Swami came and I explained to him. He said, what is this, such a big equipment? Swami, this is for bench press. This is what we do for build muscles. Swami is so innocent, and because he wants to give us that opportunity. If he says, I know, then we can't talk, right? So it is that the beauty of that conversation is where he allowed us to find that. It's okay, come. And there is a healthy way. We have to find our path. And for me, this was my path, and he encouraged me in that path. Somebody like Brother Ved Narayan was into Vedas. That was his passion. You all know him. That's why I mentioned these names. Otherwise, it's not my habit. But so Swami encouraged him in Vedic learning, teach Vedas, chant Vedas, and he put him under the tutelage of one of the greatest Vedic masters who sat with Swami all the time. That master, whom we call Kamavadani Garu, I've sat next to him and pressed Swami's feet for hours on end. He will be constantly chanting Vedas. Constantly. I'm showing now the other part of it, right? And Swami will be laughing at him and looking at us like this, just making sure, because he's not looking at Swami also. He'll be muttering something and pressing Swami's feet. For him, it's only Veda, Purusha, Suktam. Vedic Purusha. He saw Swami as the Vedic Purusha himself. In fact, Swami would joke with us. Swami will say, wait, just watch. Hey, who is Rama? He won't even look at Swami. Sita ante evaru? He'll do like that. I don't know. He doesn't know who Rama is. He doesn't know who Sita is. He doesn't know any of those Puranic stories and none of that. For him, it was Veda chanting, Vedic wisdom, Vedic. And so to learn under that was a great honor. But Swami didn't put me there because he knew my passion was somewhere else. But he put people who were meant to do that. This is why the beauty of the avatar comes in. it wasn't like a cult where everybody was groomed in one standard fashion, and like batteries go out of the factory. It wasn't even dished out of Puttaparthi like, I'm ready to serve Swami, I am going to New Zealand. It was not like that. Each one of us allowed an environment to grow, find what we wanted, and how could we, and we found a way to make that as an offering to Swami. And he accepted that very beautifully. It was dramatics. It was he accepted that too. As a young boy, I was so against rituals in my family. I wanted to go and join the Pune Film Institute. Pune is a city close to. That's where the Bollywood industry is. I think. But anyway, I wanted to join that, not only just to defy my family, but I truly loved acting. I thought it was a big thing, rich and famous, whatever that thing was. But I wanted to go there. And guess what? When I find him, he fulfills all those little petty desires. It's almost like the biblical verse, find ye first the kingdom of God and all these shall be added unto you. It is true. Every single desire of yours will be fulfilled, including the bungee jump, if that's not what you're chasing. If it is He, if He is the center of your life, if God is the center of your life, if you have found that one-on-one and said, this is it, this is my purpose, this is my destiny, then all the other little things that you thought were distractions, or the little petty desires, or the small little thing, they would all fall in place. Whether it is money that you wanted, whether it's security that you wanted, whether you wanted a perfect partner, whether you wanted friends, you wanted everything will fall in place. There is absolutely no doubt about it. The reason, if it's not, is because this center, this anchor, is not found in our lives. And that's why I urge everyone I meet, find your anchor, find your story, your connection with God. Whoever that God is, that God could be a book, that God could be Swami. I'm not here to tell you He is God. I don't know what God is. I'm here to tell you my stories with Him, what I learned with Him, but I'm not here to label Him. I'll never will put a label on Him. He's a phenomenon I can never understand. And that lack of understanding helps me grow, because I'm continuing to discover Him. And the more I discover Him, the more I understand who I am. That helps me grow. But I earnestly ask each one of you to establish that one-on-one connection with God. Yearn, pray, demand, whatever it is you need. Do Bhangra dance if you want, but get Him into your life. And once that connection is made, then you know you don't have to look back. You never have to look back. Then the universe will begin to revolve around that. It's like gravity. It'll revolve. Every single aspect of your life will begin to revolve around that centerpiece. Where, like in the center of the storm, there is peace. You will find that peace. And once you're anchored there, everything will fall in place. Life becomes beautiful. There will be challenges, but you'll know how to take it in your stride. And those are the lessons that I learned from Swami. Every small little thing that he uttered during that 15 years became true. Because he discovered, so it was a drama which I liked, acting which I liked. There must have been at least half a dozen or more dramas that he made me write and act. And he came and saw hundreds of time rehearsals and so on. It's not just one drama, right? It's not 6 dramas, 6 times. But the rehearsals are so many. And he would come for almost all the rehearsals. There are so many lessons we learned during that. There was a unique aspect of this, the I in Swami, if you will. We are talking about the I, where the Sathya, if you will, it's a journey from the I to we to he. Is like Sathya becomes a Swami. He leads us there, and then he becomes the Sai. For us, understanding that from Sathya to Sai, in other words, he is not just a human being, he's not just any other ordinary spiritual teacher, but there was a phenomenon expressing itself through that body. There was a consciousness expressing itself. There was an eternal principle, if you will. And I run out of words when I explain these things. But it was like that. That eternal consciousness was explaining itself through, expressing itself through that in languages we can relate to. Why do I say that? because his reactions were not normal. His responses were not normal like normal human beings. Now, you all have organized plays for SSE, and young adults have organized plays together. Maybe even the older adults have organized plays. I believe you have retreats where centers come and organize their programs and so on and so forth. Let me share with you how Swami looked at some of these and what are the beautiful, unique exposure to that personality, which is why I can't put a label on him. So, to begin with, and it was 1984, I think, when we wrote our first play. It was called Here and There, here being in Puttaparthi and there being the outside world. And we wanted to come, in the drama that I wrote, I say I, not because of any audacity, but only to explain how foolish I was writing the drama. So I wrote about how a boy who studies in Puttaparthi goes out in his vacation to meet his friends, and how his unruly friends spoil his mind, and then he gets wayward again. And then Swami does a miracle, and all of them come back into the fold. That's the story. So there is a happy ending at the end of it, but that's a huge U-turn it had to take. So it was about 7 or 8 scenes, and the third or fourth scene we had what is called the Rowdy Boys. Okay, that's where this boy goes and meets his friends, and guess what? And I say this because there's a lot to learn as an organization as well going forward. These are like the guiding things as to how to write plays and so on and so forth. I think we had a brief discussion in the car about that when in our drive yesterday. So there was this rowdy scene, and believe it or not, we had a bar scene, and I was one of the rowdies, and we had bottles and wine glasses, and then we had a table. We had cards, playing cards, like gambling, set up, like that was this visual part of it. And then this boy walks in, and then we had an intense dialogue back and forth, and then we go around him, and he has no answers, so he just stays. Because that's part of the story. I mean, the end of the story is different. But that moment, until that moment Swami came and saw, the first scene is this boy gets up in the morning, he chants Omkaram, Suprabhadam, Swami is very happy. And that boy was, Swami handpicked that boy. It's one of Swami's ideal student, favorite boy kind of a thing. He was a form boy, we call it. In cricket, the word form was there, right? And so he's a form boy. So Swami picked him up, keep him as that boy. Okay, very happy. So that boy gets up, chants Omkaram, Suprabhadam. Swami is happy. First scene, second scene, he goes home. He's chanting Omkaram, Suprabhadam. See, boys are very good, very good. He's watching like a 5-year-old watching a drama. Very happy. The third scene comes, the rowdy scene. Oh my gosh. The first time we did this scene, we did not expect the response that we got from Swami. It was almost like he was in physical pain. His face contorted. He was, I'm not exaggerating when I'm dramatizing this, but he was like this. The face became all kinds of things. And he's holding a handkerchief. That handkerchief is twisting like this, because the boys are questioning him. What is the use of values? Why did Gandhiji get shot if he was a man of values? All this kind of things, the dialogue. And the boy doesn't have an answer. That scene was visibly upsetting Swami. Now, as somebody organizing, having kids organize, youngsters organize, he would know. You would think it's common sense for somebody to know this is just a drama. They're just acting it out, right? But Swami is now in the story. And that's too much for him. So the first time we did it, in our corner of our eyes, we are looking at Swami, we are enacting it, but we are like, oh my gosh, what's going on there? And Swami is like this. And then suddenly Swami got up and walked off. The first time. He just got up and walked off after the scene. And the VIPs that came with him walked away. And we all stood on the stage watching Swami walk by. We realized we are in deep trouble. And the registrar didn't know what to do. The vice chancellor didn't know what to do, because nobody expected Swami to get so upset. And then later on in the afternoon, we kind of pleaded with him, please, we'll cancel this whole thing. Please let Swami not be upset. We were so scared, terrified, literally. And then they went to Swami and they spoke, and Swami seemed to be pacified by that. No, no, it's okay. It's only a drama. I know. It's okay. Let them do. He had to teach us a lesson slowly. It was not immediate. But so Swami pacified himself and he said, I will come and watch it again. So the next day he came, like the 5-year-olds who want to watch that horror movie again, but they don't want to watch it. They still want to have that fun, but they don't like it. So they sit close to their parents as they put on that scene and they cover their eyes. It was like that, literally. Swami said, I'll come. So the next day he came with 2 more VIPs. And he's walking and saying, now you'll watch this rowdy scene. All these rowdies are going to do. He's announcing it now. He's almost like, I'm ready for it, you know. And then the rowdy scene comes again. And again, he is completely upset. He gets caught. He gets sucked into the story. He's like this. And this time he gets up and walks to this boy just as the scene is getting over. Because in that, the visual part of it is the boy is standing and his friends, the unruly people, are going around. Hey, we have converted him back to, he's our friend, and that kind of a thing. So he comes, Swami got up from the chair, walked straight to the stage and looked at this boy and said, why are you keeping quiet? Talk to them. He shouted at this boy, Chappu, why are you keeping quiet? What did you learn in Swami's Institute? Tell them. And this boy was like, Swami, this is drama, Swami. While it's funny now, but at that moment it was very tense. We didn't know this is what Swami was. This is who he was. I'm trying to, because this is not normal. People don't react like this because they would know this is the drama. But for Swami, there's no difference between drama and real life. Your acting it out is as good as you doing it. So for him, he couldn't bring himself to that. Even though he told himself it's a drama, I'll come and watch the rehearsal. In the play, he couldn't draw the line. He was seeing it very differently. So he started shouting at the boy, and the boy said, Swami, drama, aim to drama, buddhi ledu, this, that, and he walked away. Again, we said, we'll cancel the scene. We don't want it. This is too much. We'll tone it down. We'll do something. Swami said, no, let it go on. And thus it happened every time he came, every time he was upset. But over a period of time, with that practice happened for over a month, he became a little more, quote-unquote, controlled, if you will. Hate to use such words. But the point was, Swami learned, okay, the next scene came and then it became happy. So Swami kind of saw through the whole thing. And in the last day, the president next to Swami, and the scene is coming, Swami is telling him, he didn't allow him to watch this drama anyway. He came, no, these are good boys. This is only acting. Don't think they are not rowdies. They are my boys. Swami was so scared that the president will actually think they are rowdies. No, they are not rowdies. They are my boys. They are only acting. Don't watch, only acting. We caught Swami talking and the other boys sitting, they said, oh my God, Swami didn't let the president watch the drama at all. In between scenes, he started explaining how they're all good boys. None of them are bad like this and all of that. It was so much upon Swami. So on the one side, he encouraged us to do Bhangra dance. I want to show you the other side, which wasn't so... He allowed us to do, but he wasn't happy with it. He wasn't... And the drama finished, of course, he gave us, beautiful gifts that day being, that evening being his 60th birthday. He gave us silver vessels and this and that, blessed us all. But the rowdy boys, he ignored us. No anger, nothing, just ignored. So it took almost a year or year and a half for him to break that ice. And by then, everything was fine. I mean, he wasn't angry or anything like that because he handpicked some of us to join the PhD program. I was gracious that he handpicked me to join the PhD program. It was told that these boys have two of us rowdies were in this PhD program as in the finance group, the 4 of us. So somebody told Swami, these finance boys, the banking and finance, that's my PhD, right? And so somebody told Swami they have to go to banks to do research because those are the days you didn't have computer and access online. So you had to literally go to the banks and take published records, sit and go through, balance sheets and all of that stuff and photocopy them and bring them back and so on. Swami said, where do they have to go? What about the other boys are all in the laboratories? But Swami, there's a science boys. These commerce boys have to go out. Where they'll go out? Swami, they have to go to the city. No going to the city. So it took a while for the registrar to convince Swami, otherwise they cannot do PhD. It took our professor had to slowly, gingerly explain to Swami, they have to go to the city. On the one side, they don't even know how to cross the road. How will they go? They've been here all the time. So on the one side, he was so overprotective of us, almost like a parent saying, you can't join the army. I don't want you to go there. You take a regular job like anybody else. Why are you trying all of that, right? It was like that. And so Swami decided to take us to Chennai. If they don't know, I will go with them. I will take them. I will take them. And so Swami he planned a trip to Chennai, and 4 of us went behind him. There was, of course, a fantastic time with Swami. But we went and stayed with Swami in Sundaram, and every evening we reported to him, what did we do? Where did you go? What did you do? And of course, we wore white and went without chappals into the Reserve Bank of India. And we kind of blended with all those watchmen and everybody. Because they were all in white and white. Only thing missing was a cap, the white cap. So the professors there were like, who are these guys, But anyway, it was a very unique experience. But there is where he broke this ice with the drama thing. And that's where this lesson that I'm saying got complete. And so that night when we landed in Sundaram, Swami introduced us to the VIPs who came up to see him. Swami said, these are my PhD boys. Pakka rowdies. And by then I'm learning that Swami's words matter a lot. It's never been, never has any word of Swami been uttered lightly. Okay, let me put it this way. And I can go so many instances where every word of his has actually manifested in my life. So at that point, of course, I didn't have this kind of wisdom, but we knew that Swami uttering something means you have to be careful. So some good PhD boys, pakka rowdies. And the VIPs around Swami, they were like, oh, you Swami. And Swami said, yeah, see? Even they're upset. He's looking at us. See? Smoking, drinking. In front of Swami. We're like, no Swami. And they're like, oh, Swami, tappu. And we're like, come on, give us a break, guys. Swami is just fooling. But Swami is, yeah, these boys, these 2, pointing to 2 of us, big rowdies. And then we fell at Swami's feet. We knew he was referring to that drama because since then he had not spoken to us. We had gone into the PhD program, but he had not really established that one-on-one again. So we felt at Swami. We said, sorry, Swami, we didn't do that. It was really only acting. Swami said, how could you act? How could you even think like that? How could you do that? I don't want my people to even act like that. You shouldn't even think on those lines. You're planting seeds, vasanalu, he said. You're planting those seeds. I didn't like it at all. Then it was almost like the counseling, he comes out and we realized how sensitive he was. Even in a drama, I don't want that. And we said, Swami is very sorry. And because he said, okay, from now onwards, don't do that. And very graciously, it actually forgave us. Like the ice was completely sorted out and broken. Never again did he ever mention that. Those words like rowdies and all of that. Though I played almost like a villain part in every other drama. A villainous pundit, a proud pundit, and so on and so forth. But never again that. And so after that, we never did any dramas like that. It was always Bhaja Govindam and Radha Krishna. And simple, sattvic, no plots and subplots, no villains, everybody's happy. Why am I saying this? Is because he was a phenomenon which we couldn't explain. It was in that same thing. There was another Telugu drama that Swami made us write. I hope we have time. Yeah, we do. We do have, right? It's 12? 2 minutes? Okay, I'll continue this story. I'll start with the story of the second drama in the afternoon session. But I want to kind of summarize where we are at this point. This understanding of Swami will break conditions in our mindset. Because we are conditioned to think a particular way. We're conditioned to like certain things, not like some things. We're conditioned to understand God a particular way because we have read about Him in the Bible or in the Gita or in the Puranas, and we are taught, indoctrinated indoctrinated, if you will, as to how God should be or God is based on the past. And based on the past, we are ready to accept somebody who kinds of fits the bill. We're trying to make God fit our bill based on our understanding. But how can you do that? The universal consciousness is so free and so unconditional. It can take any form, adopt any way, any way, right? That's why you say even a beggar is an angel in disguise. Angels don't have to come to you with wings and a halo, a spinning halo around their heads. It could be a beggar. It could be a boss who's pushing you to the limit. Spouses are always angels, by the way. You know that, right? See, the guys are readily nodding. There you go. I love that. He breaks those rules, like adopting a form which you have never seen ever in history, ever, and you'll never see a form like this ever, right? He does that because he helps you break that conditioned mindset. And when we do that, then we find a freedom within us. Something is released from inside. But if he's only coming here to, again, help you become more conditioned, then it defeats the very purpose.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti